Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Healthcare Quality and Risk Matters after show. My name is Gary Bierce. I am joined this afternoon by our two most esteemed colleagues, Rob Santamore and Dr. Timothy Brown. Welcome back if you were at the live podcast. This month, we're talking about the pathway to quality. And we're really excited this month to be getting into this topic and diving in a little bit more. Here in the after show, we really want to unpack quite a bit this pinch point on the highway and why you really need to be considering when to do technology, how to do technology, and hopefully you'll consider Aperitisoft Healthcare when you do that as well. In review, for those folks who have not been to the podcast, Rob, let's quickly rip through the pathway to quality to get everybody up to date, and then let's focus in on the pinch point after that.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure. You asked me to quickly talk about quality. So, like, I don't know that I can do that, but I will try. There's so the pathway is a continuous improvement roadmap that starts with proactive and ends in being a high reliability organization. Starting with proactive quality and risk assessments, there's to be proactive with your care, and your operations, there's considering your quality, there's outcomes to expectations designed from your proactive, there's risk and quality assessments, then your quality management, risk management, there's circle. So for those that are just listening, there's a roundabout that has the quality management process. Starting there's with your incident reporting, investigation, root cause analysis, analytics, corrective action, preventative action, and reporting. There's then moving.
Reach out to us if you'd like to have those materials. We'd be glad to supply it. And don't forget the March podcast where we cover that in detail.
Definitely. Then moving into strategic and cultural alignment, there's giving quality a seat at the table. There's then that culture. There's helping to seed the continuous improvement environment. There's of your institution. Then if you want to continue past the bare minimum and move your operating margin out of the red, adopting technology to innovate, there's how you operationalize quality. There's then your smooth sailing. You can measure, monitor, and maintain your organization, continuously improve for long-term quality. And then achieve high reliability organization status.
Mm-hmm. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right?
Very easy roadmap. There's you might get stuck in a circle for a couple minutes as you're figuring things out, but that's what the design is, because you have that out once you understand there's where you are.
Correct.
A couple big takeaways to folks that are just dialing into this topic with us. This steps 1 to 4 are very much foundational, and it's going to take some time. And you need to work through this. This is really more cultural and process oriented is really where you are in those first 4 steps. Then you start to hit the fast track when you adopt the right technology and innovation to get you on that final journey to becoming an HRO. With technology, you're going to have all the capabilities you need to measure, monitor, and maintain continuously towards your quality goals. You'll be able to establish a long-term vision for quality in your organization. And then, of course, with all that behind you, you are an HRO at that point. You're doing all the right things.
That's correct.
But during the regular show, we talked about between 4 and 5 is a critical spot where most organizations fail. And we're using the analogy of the roadway here. We made a joke about the Washington, D.C. Beltway, and all it takes is one broken down vehicle and you're on a parking lot. But it's a very good analogy of what's going on when organizations try to bypass or skip this important step of innovation and technology. You don't have what it takes to go beyond that point. Often organizations regress because of it.
Yes, agreed.
That's true.
And they regress passively and they don't know what's happening to them.
Right. It's almost like a spiral, right? It's like a down spiral begins. and they are. They're frustrated. They don't know what's happening, and why is this happening to me?
Because there's no 6. We don't know.
Correct.
We can't see it. There's no line of sight.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And we gave the analogy that if you try to off-road from continuous improvement to bypass innovation, you're lost in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you try to off-road right before technology and try to skip around, you're going to get stuck in the swamp. You can't get past the innovation step.
I wonder if our marketing people knew that wanted us to talk about it that way, or if it was just because we talk and live this stuff every day.
Well, our head of marketing, Jason Shealy, I'm sure he thought of that.
That I was just like, it's just a really good visual that we were able to be like, listen,
it is perfect.
Way, you can't jump shit. Like, you got to stay a course.
Yeah, it's just divine providence that it worked out that way. Okay, so guys, let's dive in here then. All right. So Timothy, in the original show, you brought up some really, really good points about don't go rushing into software before you get past 4. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Absolutely. I'm glad you opened the floor on this particular point. I think too often, I believe honestly for healthcare organizations, we think technology is going to solve all of our problems without doing the legwork that's needed to integrate a new technology into an organization. I speak heavily on things such as Epic. I think we all have experienced the headaches of trying to implement Epic into an organization without properly foundationally having understanding of what that technology is going to do, having the right adequate training, and really having the legwork of your mission, vision, values to align with integrating a new technology and process into your organization. That it becomes chaos. Your employees hate it, your patients hate it. And it's unfortunate. It's not the technology's fault. A lot of times it is the legwork that goes on before we bring in new technology. But there's another point I wanted to make too, Gary, that you mentioned from 4 to 5 around technology. If we often try to move directly into that space of technology without setting up this foundation for the organization, I think it also leads to that frustration that we often see. Rob, you spoke of this earlier, that regression that happens when an organization feels like they've met that point of no return. And what we're here today kind of to talk about is breaking down the myths that we experience when we get to technology, usually around we can't afford that, or we can build it on our own type of mindset. So I really want us to kind of debunk some of those myths around those areas, because that's really where it happens. That's where the paint meets the road, or where the road meets the road for the organization, to where I want to move from being a good organization to a great and beyond organization. So I'll leave it there.
I love that. And I do, again, want to hit on that regression point, because it isn't a stagnant point, because the road in front of you is going to keep getting built out.
That's good.
The industry is going to keep growing around you. So you staying still, I'm losing the word, but if everybody else is moving forward and you're staying still, you are moving backwards.
You absolutely are. Yeah.
Because the benchmark is now being moved ahead.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you're now falling behind it. And if you...
Yeah, it's like that cutting edge hospital was built 40 years ago.
Yes.
Right. And they still, in their culture, were the cutting edge, hospital. And then somebody decides they're going to go visit that new hospital down the street, and they can't believe they can't believe the difference.
Medicine has advanced in 40 years. No way.
Seriously.
And be like, that's so cool. I absolutely. I love the concept around don't just jump into technology, because you said Epic.
Yes.
And to look back 15, 16, 20 years ago, when I first started learning Epic and Cerner, we were doing some stuff on paper. We were doing some stuff there's in Epic. And I remember doing my medication administration record on paper, but putting in the doctor's orders, there's in the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And never having those two things relate, in thinking about how dangerous that was for my patient, that I have the only record, the only source of truth for the medications, the critical drips my patient is on, and the doctor's orders are siloed from that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm having a hard time articulating where the logic was in any of that.
Right.
And that's what happens when that's what has happened to healthcare. We have grabbed all of these pieces as we move forward to add technology. And for just those that are listening, I used air quotes because it's technology in the sense, the fact that it's an electronic device.
Correct. Exactly.
Technology in.
I think the safety management ring is a classic example of that, right? So, people come in and are like, well, we got to get our arms around our incidents.
Yeah.
So they go and they buy an incident management software.
Yeah, perfect. That's a great example.
Exactly.
And they're like, well, wow, this new Excel is fantastic for investigation. I can do all this and I can do some things and keep a great chart. So they'll go and do that. So then they'll say, well, I got to do root cause analysis. And they go do something else, probably in Word or PowerPoint. I don't know. They go do something else, right?
Or a marble composition notebook, which again, I know about this up on other podcasts. That's how I was trained in quality, risk, and compliance at a very good organization. They had high quality standards. And they are a good organization. I couldn't say anything bad about them, but that's what we were doing in healthcare. We're using marble composition notebooks.
Yeah.
And bro, believe it or not, we're into 2025 now, and we're still using marble composition notebooks.
Yeah.
Honestly, in many other smaller healthcare organizations. And you wonder why you walk into a healthcare organization, a hospital, and it just feels dated. And a lot of the advancements that could possibly be going on in helping patients, it just isn't in existence right now.
Think about this, guys, right? Here we are in 2025. And organizations out there, and of course, I mean, we know other software competitors exist and what their claims are, right? But we also know their claims aren't really what they say they are, right? There's an idea of it in their software, but it really isn't truly meeting the standard that we would have. Like, for instance, we consider ourselves fully integrated. Well, we are from front to back.
That's correct.
Other organizations will say, well, I have a CAPA management module. I have this, I have that, but they're not built into a seamless process.
No.
Right.
Adding a free narrative section that's titled CAPA for you to document what you did about the most obvious part of the incident is not integration.
Let's take a moment and just kind of explain how Aperitisoft Healthcare truly solves this problem and gives you that, the fast track towards HRO. First of all, yes, you will have the ability to manage incidents and do it very well. Matter of fact, it was designed to make it faster, more accurate, and easier for bedside to adopt and do on a routine basis than what currently exists.
Yes, fractions of the time. Yes.
Fractions of the time. Second, proper notifications and dashboards are there so that the quality team knows something happened. And not only did it happen, but the way that we handled the reporting, a triage of the incident was made to give them a criticality score to know what to do next. Can I put this off until the end of the week, or do I got to do it right now?
Which is true innovation. Nobody does that.
Nobody's doing that. Nobody. But we're still in the same software, same module, whatever you want to call it. We haven't moved anywhere yet, right?
Yeah, it just has a lot of different features that are built for the healthcare process.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's all right there at your fingertips. So then we move on, right? Now we have to investigate this thing. And we want to do a root cause analysis. We want to take some type of an analytical approach to the investigation to see just how bad this thing really is. But what does that do for us? It also gives us a baseline on that particular incident so that when we do corrective action and preventative action, we can be buying down our risk or buying up our quality, right, on what we assessed. Now, what does all that give us? Well, now we can aggregate all this to a single dashboard for executive management to measure, monitor, and maintain
Novel. What a great idea.
Right, a quality program in their
Mhm.
organization. So because it's all integrated and you have dashboards that say this was due when, and this is Timothy's thing to do, and this is Rob's thing to do, and this is Gary's thing to do, you truly can do continuous improvement. You can actually really do it. So technology, you know, of course, we are a software company, and you know, in our after show, we're not going to hold anything back to let you know what we have. It can make a huge difference for you, and seeing it is believing. It is a remarkable thing. I don't think we've showed it to any client or customer yet, Rob, that wasn't blown away by what they saw, because
we have 100% approval rate. I mean,
I think going in, people say it's too good to be true until they see it. And then after they see it, then there's a different attitude.
Agreed.
But there's my 2 cents and proud proud boasting of what we are able to do. But, you know, why would a company, Rob, attempt to go forward patching together all these different technologies when something like Aperitisoft Healthcare is available?
Legacy systems. So people have healthcare in general has a really difficult time with change. Ironically, we do well with adding to our surgical suite. We do well with adding the newest and best medication. What we don't do well, to Timothy's point earlier, is update our hospital. What we don't do well is update our operating systems. We like to fill the gap. Because filling gaps can be easier than in perception than actually fixing the root of the problem.
Right.
And I do think that some of it is knowledge based, right? It's education, it's awareness. Are they aware of the fact that a lot of their breakdowns are because they have so many forks in the road? Do they know that is one of the root of the problems, that your capital management system is not connected to your incident management system, and it's not connected to your audit management system, not connected to document control, not connected to any of your analytics. So everything is requiring manual data entry, manual data transfer. It's requiring people. There's every best practice quality organization on the planet. Steers you away from people-driven processes. And people-driven processes are known to fail. Because people are human, right? To err is to human. Great book. I recommend you all read it. And it is very true. When people are using technology that has good quality control built into place, that guides your process for you, tells you what to do next, you now have technology-driven solutions that require people's brains. That's what we want. We want people's brains. We want their experience. We want their knowledge. We want them to help drive change, but we don't want to rely. We don't want to put all of our processes on their shoulders.
That's correct.
And we need quality control. You do that with smart technology. And as a healthcare world, when we implement technology, we also do it by just dropping it in, filling the gap, and saying we're good. What I love about our model is because healthcare people helped build this. We built our entire customer success model on making sure that we can help you get to 5. By the time you're implementing our solution, we've helped you proactively assess, design your expectations for your organization. We have gone through the cycle many times, not only for you to understand it, but for you to identify even more potential. There's strategies, right? You need to add more things to your strategic plan.
Or simplify. Yeah.
True. Yeah. And then you're already starting to improve your organization, right? Now your technology is launched. We help you get there.
Yep.
We've gotten you there with our customer success team. And we need more organizations like that. That are supporting our healthcare partners. And not just dropping in gaps and saying, yeah, I'll sell you this. Go ahead and drop it in. That's your new document control system. No, it doesn't do any of the stuff you need it to do. But you know what? It fills your gap-ish. There's at least a placeholder to say you have one.
You know, guys, I have a theory on healthcare industry, and it's one of these kinds of industries. It's a lot like the insurance industry. You know, I used to say about the insurance industry is that they can make money despite themselves.
So that's true.
And the reason why is that pretty much everybody needs insurance.
That's true.
And I mean, I'm going to ask you guys this. I doubt you're looking at the best ratings on all of your insurance companies that you use when you're buying auto insurance. You're just looking for the best rate. You know,
agreed.
That's kind of the way it works. Healthcare is a lot like that. New fancy hospitals down the street, and I have an emergency. I'm going to that emergency room.
That's correct.
Right. I'm going to try that. That hospital has been bringing in some expertise to try to have some specific healthcare niches or knowledge bases that they can build a business around. Okay, that would draw some people to the hospital. You're going to probably want to promote your hospital to the doctors in and around your region to let you know that you're a good facility for certain things. After that, they just start coming, you know. And I think because of that, often, although the doctors can be exceptionally good at doctoring and the nurses exceptionally good at nursing, they're not very good business people.
No.
They don't have a business mindset. And, you know, me being a businessman, and I look at healthcare as, oh my gosh, if I could do the highest quality healthcare, I mean, we won't be able to we'll be turning people away. Everybody's going to fight over it, particularly if you can prove it and promote it. My goodness, from a business perspective, you couldn't do any better.
I think you said it, Gary. Quality is good business.
It is. It is. And we've said it before, Timothy, and I'll throw this to you. You were talking about the myths, okay? And one of the myths that you brought up is, I can't afford this.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you recall in one of our podcasts, we talk about quality and having the right systems actually funds itself?
It does.
Oh, easily.
Absolutely.
Right? It actually funds all that other stuff you're trying to do.
It does. It retains your revenue.
Yes.
Nothing else. Like if you used it poorly, it would at minimum help you retain your revenue.
When you think about everything that quality touches in an organization, in a healthcare organization, it touches literally every department, every meeting, every individual that works or touches the grounds that your hospital sits on.
Yes.
So why not invest into the one area that we call really it's the best bang for your buck? And the number of systems that people use to kind of conglomerate and pull together and these disjointed systems to call it quality. And again, with Rob saying the air quotes of calling it quality, when you can actually have a real quality system that is focused and based on improving the overall care and of the patients that you serve and how employees view your overall organization, that alone, like you said, it ultimately will fund itself across the board for your organization. You might be looking at initial costs. Well, what is the cost of it initially? You look at sticker price, and then you also look at what it would cost if incidents were not taken care of in your organization. And we look at the number of lawsuits that we see across the boards for healthcare organizations, and it is astronomical. It will blow your mind the amount of money that's wasted on things that could have been prevented and overall issues that there should not be issues at all. Slip and fall, that should not be an issue in healthcare organizations. Washing your hands, that should not be
right.
That's my go-to.
These are like the
why are we not washing our hands?
Yeah, But you know, because they're walking around with a marble composition notebook doing there's hand wash audits. And this is real life. This is absolutely still happening
so
because
true.
I've seen it. There's in the last 6 months. There's hand wash audits with a marble composition notebook saying I saw 96% of my team washing their hands in and out of the patient rooms. And it's like, okay, well, where is all the real data around this? You don't have any. And how does that make it to the C-suite? How does that make it to ensure that you have the ability to measure, monitor, and maintain? How is that validated?
Yeah.
Where is that information live? Does it live on your desk? Until somebody asks for it, because wait, hold on, we got to get it together for our accrediting body because we're required to do that every month across all of our units. It just baffles me.
No. To your point, in my mind, it went directly to the Post-it notes. I believe we have done our job in quality when your team members no longer look for Post-it notes because they have a system where they actually can implement information in quickly, and they don't have to grab a pencil or a Post-it note and put it in their pocket and walk around. No, they have that system right at their hands, and it goes directly to who it needs to go to. Can imagine the number of Post-it notes that get lost, tossed away, or thrown away that could have prevented a patient issue, that could have prevented a lawsuit for the organization, just because it was something that let me grab a napkin and write down what needs to be done because I don't have a system that is usable and able to provide what I need in the event of a patient issue.
When we talk about the innovation of Aperitisoft Healthcare, okay, there's so much, right? There's just so much that we have accomplished in this one piece of software that it's hard to touch one thing hit all the things at one time. But what we often understate when we're talking about this innovation is that, in this roadmap, we talk about being proactive. Well, you can try to be proactive using Excel or whatever and attempt to do some of these risk assessments. People do it, right? But it takes a long time. It's time consuming to accomplish these things. Where in Aperitisoft Healthcare, it's a click of a button and you can be setting up a brand new risk assessment, analyzing it with Monte Carlo simulation if you wanted to. You can upload any of the standards that are out there or any of the certification quality standards and be doing a self-assessment on yourself from a quality perspective and be storing that all right in the same system while it's at the same time managing all your incidents, managing the whole CAPA management process. And wait a minute, I feel like the old Saturday Night Live commercials. Wait, there's more, right? we throw in a document control module for you, so that you can manage your policies, keep them up to date. It's quite remarkable that companies, particularly hospitals, don't recognize how they can save themselves so much money and project themselves forward so much more quickly with the right piece of software.
Correct.
Agreed.
Rob, you made a great point though about legacy systems, and these hospital groups in particular get so entrenched with these older systems, with the IdeaGen / Q-Pulses and the RL Datexes and the Midases and so forth, that it almost becomes part of how they think it's supposed to run. And their mind, their eyes are closed or blinded to the fact there's a better way and a much easier way to be doing the same thing.
Yeah. I don't get it, but I understand what they're saying when they say it's hard. Because they've not, one, had the support. They have no history of real customer support when it comes to this change management. I have been a part of a lot of installs, both quality management systems, electronic health records, and you get maybe a weekly call. Maybe at the very beginning, you get like a daily phone call. Hey, how are you guys doing with this giant pile of work that I have asked you to allocate 14 to 30 FTEs worth of people to work on for this changeover? Cool. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks. Bye. And I remember thinking back on one of our EHR changeovers, and I thought they were great because they checked on us every day. Hey, how did they go? But we had 1,000 questions for them at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we wasted half of every day because we were spinning our wheels or ended up doing it wrong. And we had no real support system. And I think that is a huge problem. There's one that I think that Timothy's team has solved. I very much appreciate. And that is the experience the healthcare's had, right? Their experience has been, okay, you know what? Great. You're going to touch base with me every day, but it's still 14, 16, 30 people that I'm going to have to dedicate to doing this. It's going to disrupt all of our processes. You're going to create gaps. We're going to have a huge number of things that aren't attended to from May 4th to June 4th because of the switchover time. And here's these big risks. And it'd be like, hold on, we can build APIs.
Mm-hmm.
The training time, there's all of your reporters. We actually did it in 4 minutes. We proved that you can be trained in 4 minutes. Now we're going to give you some more information than 4 minutes of training.
Course.
But you can use it just like you're picking up any app. Not once have I been trained on how to use any of the apps on my phone. Because they build these things intelligently so that the user interface is logical. So we built a logical process for our healthcare partners.
It's amazing about that. The fact that our process is built on the risk management process itself, right? Very and naturally flows. It's almost as though folks can't believe it. They keep looking for that old thing. They keep looking for the old thing.
Where's the aha moment?
Stop thinking the old way and think the way you really want to think, and then it's right there. It's all laid out for you.
Agreed.
Very easy, very, very easy to do. But guys, looks like we're out of time.
Wow, that went
wow. Timothy, you get the last word, and then we can wrap it up until next month.
Well, I think that we've said a lot today. If I can really just leave something with the organization that may be struggling on where do we start, it's definitely not at step 5. It does start a conversation with the organization of where do you want to go before you try to solve anything in your organization. Before you try to pick the hardest issue that you think and start working on that, you have to have the conversation of where do we want to go as an organization? How do we get there? And if you don't know how to do that, if you don't really know where to start, then I always open the door to you guys to contact us. Email us at insights@aperitisoft.com. We're here to talk to you and work through that overall understanding of how to move forward. It's not an easy task to do it by yourself. We're not looking for you to build it. We have a team of people that are here to help you as you're making those strides moving forward. If you're looking at your organization and say we feel dated, things seem out of place, you're using those marble composition notebooks, it's not too late. Reach out to us. We're here to help you make that transition as smoothly as possible. Let us bust those myths for you. Let us talk to your organization about how you can make that positive change and really simplify healthcare to where it should be, where you're focusing on that overall patient in the community that you serve. We're happy to help, and we're looking forward to those conversations and hopefully in the near future.
Well said, Timothy. It's a big point. The Aperitisoft Healthcare business model is not a typical software business model. When you need support, you're not calling a call center somewhere around the world that knows nothing about you. We literally walk in alongside you, and you're going to know the face of that individual that's going to be supporting you and guiding you through the process. Timothy is probably going to be.
I was just like, you're probably talking to Timothy, or right?
Be leading the way there. But I mean, what Timothy said is true. Timothy's not going to start you at number 5.
No.
He's going to start you at number 1 and guide you into that process. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's okay. But we'll stay alongside you until you are.
Absolutely.
That's the way that we want to do business. So we want to thank everyone for participating in the after show. Please continue to support us, like us, share us, do all the things you do in social media. We appreciate it. Next month, guys, we're talking about the C-suite.
The C-suite.
And we hope that you guys will tune in next month. What day in July will it be this go round, Rob?
It's the end of July. I don't know that the actual day.
Don't know the exact date. Just want to yeah. Okay.
30th. If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
We're working around vacation.
Well, we're third or fourth Wednesday in July. But you'll be getting notifications from us when it's coming up. Thanks again for participating, and we'll see you next month.